impressive run in order to make the qualifier here, but now on board with E11's Tayson, a player who we saw be super successful in the heats yesterday. The problem is he hasn't necessarily really converted it today. We've consistently seen him towards the top. He was actually 7th coming in, so not doing too bad today, but probably also a little bit outside in terms of the placement that he would be wanting, averaging a top 27 placement and 5 elims total across the 2 games.
And I think that may be due to the amount of loot that he's getting. He is in Steamy with 3 or 2 other players. It's really, really hard to find all that loot. And you see it in his inventory right now. He does have crash pads, but that common AR is not going to net you a lot of eliminations. He's going to have to find a way to upgrade that, whether that be through an impact elimination or finding one naturally. As it seems like this is the open side of zone, and that meaning there's not that many people all around him. He's got a little space to work with there. Someone who doesn't have that much space is there's a lot of players nearby. Bad sniper. He does have 15 points, a decent first couple of games, but not where he wants to be. There is a player nearby. He's got to be careful with the sniper. And if you don't have it, he's going to turn the beams back onto him, but not going to hit it. He is only 22 above Storm Surge, and that is nowhere near safe, as you see it already ticking down to 19.
Yeah, and that Storm Surge threshold on the right side of your screen there. The number for zone number 3 is 70, so currently 17 players have to go down. Bad Sniper will be starting to look for tags here, but also doesn't necessarily want to overbuild himself too much because he doesn't have a ton of materials and he is out in the open. So if he has a lot of players who opt to end up spamming towards him, it can be difficult. And he's not in the safe zone yet, and now only 4 above. You talked about how kind of that threshold just keeps on ticking. So he's trying to trade some tags out, get himself above. We have Ovation Arion and Smudge closing in on him, as well as 2 players already in the zone and coming back, and this is going to be key. And he got it! Huge tags and the Elim coming on to Meta Shrimsy. Super unfortunate, using the crash pads desperately trying to get in zone, but even with those tags, only 62 above.
And you can tell he's not happy with it. He's already looking to move into zone and set up for another couple tags because he's going to need it. The 62 above just turned to 60 above, and then it's going to turn to 52 above. And you're going to start trickling down that leaderboard as everybody near you looks to get a Bad Sniper. Maybe looking to set up an ambush here onto Kezix. Will be a snipe nearby Skype there, as well as a sniper shot is going to ring there. Not actually going to connect onto anybody, but Snipe looking to be aggressive on his tags. Again, is above Storm Surge, but not by much, as we see Lecce take down the premises limit there. Snipe, though, has a very good position in the zone. He can rotate to his right or his northeast there to really make a play on that side of zone as shots are going to come through. He heard that sniper shot come through, and that player got tagged up by everybody, and Ophacia's Arion is going to fall down.
To a single shot going through there, and we talk about it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it's sometimes worth just throwing the AR bullets over, both for Storm Surge tags, but you might get a little bit of that RNG on your side and pick up the elimination. Somebody else did most of the work, the hunting rifle shot coming through, but he'll be the benefactor there as Kinzel now is going to put some pressure here onto Flopper Michael. Again, a number of players still under that Storm Surge tag, so you can expect the passive players to push through. Storm Surge will impact the players who have done the least amount of damage to opponents, but Flopper Michael punishing Kinzel there, who was under that pressure, as 4 more players will need to go down before it turns off. Controller 007 picks up Maestro. Gambit's Moaka also goes down, but you can see Flopper Michael also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday. Can he set up another one here and end up converting, as now we're going to swing on over to Anas, get a nice little replay, see what's going on here. Chaining the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player and catching him over on the side. Spen, what are you doing? Cover your back, man. You can't be doing that on the edge of the zone. But Anas pushing himself further out towards the lead. Don't forget, he was in first place with 28 points, now sitting on 30, courtesy of the elimination and the first placement threshold.
Very great play from Anas to realize that he was being ambushed here as well. Very quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy looking to be aggressive and looking to push. The shots are still coming through. Anas continues his dominant solo performance. He plays 16 in the solos Evans CS Invitational and 9th in DreamHack. And he's recently been turning online, you know, in these last couple of months. It's been really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend just after being picked up by that organization. With this disengage, though, it nets him a lot. He's able to refarm some of this metal as well if he wanted to hit that fence there. refarm a lot of this wood as well. Benji picking up an elimination is good for him. But Anas, while he was in a good spot, now he's getting pinched by these players.
And I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that land and making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there, Bad Sniper, though, under pressure from Atlantis' Lecce. Trying to get in the box, Bad Sniper disengaging. Does have plenty of shields and floppers if he can make the space, however. Now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone that as soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick zone. So Bad Sniper is going to have a lot of the pressure here in terms of having the chug splashes and having the floppers compared to Lecce. Don't know his loadout, but doubt he has as much heals as that, and going to be punished there. Yep, no additional white heals coming out, so the Siphon really beneficial for Bad Sniper there, and he has a relatively clear path to the zone now. You can see on that bottom right-hand corner, only 1 or 2 players who are going to be in his way.
And that's always unfortunate, is getting eliminated in zone as you're just trying to rotate through. As Anas doing the same. He's got white heals, but it's only in bandages, and he is popping them this time, but he's got to be careful. This elimination will net him so much. It'll give them loot, and if that player has any white heals as well, it'll be so good. As Andy is staying more healthy than Anas, the zone, once it closes, like you said, 5-tick, and now it goes down, shots are going through between each other, and Andy's got that flopper. He's going to be able just to outlive Anas here unless Anas makes a play, but no, Anas going down, and that's number 1 out of the game.
Anas being taken out there, the pressure from the Storm, the 5-tick zone. Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into his stomach there. Also has the floppers and the bandages as well. So I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there and allowed the cabbages to tick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper. Going to limit some of his mid-game and later game options there, but opting for safety is now swing on board with reason. Relatively solid performance, was in 9th coming into this game, currently sitting on 18 points, and has a decent loadout for the end game. However, a long rotation he's going to have to make here, Clay.
And he has no crash pads and only 1 pepper. He's going to have to get creative with it, whether it be third-partying this site. We did see Scram fall. Rezon just going to hop in, and that's going to be PCH, who is not expecting it. You have to reset those walls. You cannot afford to make those mistakes right now.
This is grand finals in Europe, the most played in region, arguably the most aggressive and most talented region as well. If you are able to convert on elimination, please do everything possible and make sure you're safe. It's all about covering yourself up afterward and allowing yourself to be in a position to continue on in the game, and Reason is so good at capitalizing on others' mistakes. Now notice, built up on the high ground, use those hard materials to make sure he's established and safe, but for Strokey, trying to encroach a little bit on this real estate, and that's the fights you're going to see. Reason opting to drop down and just return to his safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone. This is zone number 4, so priority positioning is going to be towards the outside. We're going to be keeping an eye on who ends up going, and then who is slaying.
Make it here. Another player able to make it into this end game is going to be Savage. And with that off-spawn elimination on the Noah Riley, I'm elimination there. Noah Riley went down early. It's got to be Mr. Savage taking him down. But as you see, that is coming through. Nice and pick up there by Savage, but someone trying to capitalize on him. Shots coming through. He's going to pick up a double. Heat's going to go down. Queasy going to go down. The pressure's not done yet. The crash pad's coming in. And the crash pad master, Mr. Savage, going to be able to pick some up there. And he's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive, but someone on top of him going to be Bad Sniper there trying to box right and box the box. Steady there as well. Savage really needs to make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old build will get him out for now. And what a phenomenal heads-up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players nearby you, and you take them out as well.
And Exqueezy picking up an elim there. I believe that was on the Keelix, but we have our top 50. So Storm Surge turning back off, second placement point going over. And don't forget, this is game number 3, so we're about to be at the midway point. This is a fantastic opportunity with a nos down for somebody else to unseat him and become that front runner. And we talk so much about momentum and whether or not you can hang on and whether or not you can get running. And Froggy, a player who thrives on momentum, finding a key elim there on the backside of the zone, using the launch pad, then getting in on the priority. Half in, half out, now closing in. After this, it will be all moving zones. So it's all about making sure you're safe, finding rotation, and then trying to punish players around you who aren't doing it as
Lewitt looking to capitalize on someone not paying attention to their wall. You see, inside the zone, just sitting there waiting. He could crash at him. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji there. And he's going to fall as well. Hen goes down. What a big elimination there. Another player near the top of the leaderboard going down. Traffic falling as well. Wicket's dropping down, though. He knows there's players fighting below him, and he wants to see the action because he's only got 53 builds. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo lacking as well. 5 shots with that charged shotgun is going to go through in an instant in this end game, so he has to pick up an elimination. He also does not have priority on rotation as it's pulling away from him. Or Crash President's inventory will allow him to rotate, but not as effectively some of these other players, and he set this trap. He's waiting for this player to just make the wrong edit and go out, but I doubt that they're going to fall for it.
Well, he's waiting. He does have priority on the zone. There's a player right next to his box. I wasn't sure if that player was on the cone. He finds the 83 tag and then follows up right away. ADN going down in 41st, misses the placement point, so a huge pick going right there. Mr. Savage still in the lobby as well. We're into the moving circles. That's the late game. You're going to start seeing players burning utility, using all their builds, just trying to get to that next safe zone and avoid fire from their opponents. But you also have to watch out for those sharks and those aggressive players, the playmakers, and the ones who are going to be the one driving the action as we're on board here with Dual Media Snipe currently below the threshold for the Storm Surge, but that should turn off shortly here. Only 7 players need to fall. Dual Media Snipe will add into it right now, pushing himself above by taking out Griff and potentially finding a nice little upgrade there in terms of his, yep, he will get the legendary shotgun in there as well. And we're closing in on top 30 as 7-Tor picks up Nate.
And with Snipe's inventory, he had 7 crash pads. This is what you want in this meta. You want to have as many crashes as you can. As bad Sniper is going to be caught trying to take a shield. Bonk.
Over by Frenzy Fishy. Orange takes out Cartoon. 7-Tor gets Sebi, closing in on top 20. That's another point going over. As now Rifla looking to add his name to that list of the Become Legends players pushing their way up the leaderboard. But Deceptos picks up Wanloss and Savage picks up Z Andy. So still a who's who of top players left, but that's everyone in the lobby. As Thomas HC gets another one. Mongrel picks up an Elam and Rifla ends Mr. X's run. Skype also getting Orange. 2 more players will need to drop before we close in on that top 10 as 7-Tor also gets Mongo, but the question is, who's on the high ground and is there caddy loot? And right as I say that, Thomas HD with that mythic shockwave launcher. Can we make it? 3 out of 3. Rifla though, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Dual Media Snipe, top right-hand. 5 Elams for Snipe, 3 for Rifla. Thomas on the high ground and the wide on your left.
And Thomas using it so well, but Rifla is doing just as well as he's being aggressive there on to players of leave. That's going to be a squeeze in the box as he is going to get the elimination there. Thomas may have the high ground right now, but Rifla is putting on a show. Snipe as well, 5 eliminations. Ludwig going to get taken down there by Vadil. I'm going to take down another one as they're going up the mountain. He's reloading that shotgun because he's going to need it as Crash Bad's going through. 6 eliminations there for him, 4 for Rifla in the bottom right. Thomas still on the high ground. We're going up a mountain. Keen needs to get up. So does Skype, very low HP. Skype's out of builds as well. He's more likely going to take over through the zone as well as Keen. Rifla, very, very healthy. Crash Pad up for high ground. Thomas HD going to take it for now. Dual Media Snipe, though, being aggressive. He's going for it. He does not secure it. Thomas HD in zone, not as healthy as Dual Media Snipe now. Rifla with the RPG, trying to throw it down. Shots coming on through. Chaos. Kane going to go down. Sky going to be the one to do it, so he stayed on through the mountain. The HP wasn't enough, but Snipe with 6 eliminations, player right on the edge of his box. He's going to take down Sky, and now Snipe versus Thomas versus Rifla. There's RPG's going to go through. You may have Kid Shockwave Launcher, but I've got a shotgun for you, says Rifla, as he takes him down. 5 eliminations. Rifla versus Dual Media Snipe on the low ground. RPG, Kid Shockwave Launcher as well. He's got too many things to reload. Will it be enough? Will he be able to do it? Dual Media Snipe in a bad spot, though. Does he have floppers? Does he have anything to make it work? Does he have any builds? Shots go through. Does that build dropping down? Shockwave's not going to be a factor here. RPG going to be used. Rifla concerned on only using that. I think this may be the key to picking up the victory royale. A lot of builds remaining here for him. This stage of the game. Snipe is running out. RPG going down. That should be the shot, and it is. He gets the tag, drops down, comes through, and shotgun for the victory royale.
And brilliant decision from Rifle, opting to use the actual rocket launcher instead of that mythic shockwave launcher because the zone pulled back over old builds. He needed to destroy them. If you're covered, you're not going to be able to get through. So rather than wasting the rocket ammo, uses the destructive potential, secures the victory royale, and he says to his org mates, it's not about you right now, it's about me. All sees this opportunity. 3 games down, 3 games left. Zeke, Bala, Shio, please let us know what's going on because this is so tense at the top. This is absurd.
It is absolutely tense at the top. I mean, EU is firing on all cylinders today, and it is an all-out battle at the top. We have to take a look at the standings. Now, we know coming into this game, Anas was holding that number 1 spot. But the question becomes, how many points has he racked up in that last game? And is he still hold that number 1 spot?
I think it's going to be a dead heat at the top. I mean, it's neck and neck for so many different people because we've seen this kind of bounce all around. Everybody wants to be involved in this race.
And Deceptos is the one who's all the way in the lead in first place, 32 points, 9 eliminations, and he's playing so well that he doesn't even need a victory royale.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. Flois is up there. He kind of had that first moment, that game 1 win, Anas will clap back. And then Rifle, it's kind of in order there, but all the players who won the games are literally tied up at 30 points. It's all about elims. There's even a further tie for Anas and Rifle.
Yeah, things are going so fast, even past that. From 6th to 10th, Rezon is still holding on to his spot. Froggy, who was 2nd, is now in 9th, but Thomas HD, Letwick, these legend status names are just doing everything they can. It is not enough to keep up with the top 5.
And Rifle is showing he belongs in that top 10, right? Coming off his first game, an 11th place with his 2 eliminations. Second game, 73rd place, and now the victory out with 6 eliminations. These are the swings we need to see if people want that number 1 spot.
And there are swings happening. There might not all be seen because you can see it. The deal in 19th place, he just had a very significant game. Look at the elims for him. He's actually tied up with those players up at the top of the leaderboards in terms of elims. He just needs to convert on some of these other games to make it really count.
Yeah, everyone past the top 10 are still hungry, and if they can't make these end games, just look at the elims for everyone. Carrot, Squeeze, AR Baffle, they're past 5. They're fighting in that mid game, in the early game, doing whatever they can to get points and stay relevant after game 3 in this competition.
Guys, we are off to the races. We are halfway through this sprint, and we can see the finish line there. The question is, who will cross first?
The blocks are off. The starting blocks are completely off. These guys are off to the races, like you said. And we're kind of trying to see who's going to catch up when we get to the finish line. We're basically halfway there. And at this point, just trying to extend the lead until we get towards those final games and start dashing towards the win.
You got to pace yourself, though, right? We've seen it in end games. We've seen it on the leaderboards. These guys who are coming up on top to start with are now not being able to hold on to the first place spot. And it's about first place.
Man, there's only one Axe of Champions to go around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, as you mentioned, Ball, that we did miss out of this last game. You got to break it down for us, man.
That we do. There are so many things for these guys doing. It's kind of a freestyle on some attempts. Snipe for him. Long range, charge shotgun shots on players like Bad Sniper who started the day off so strong, but Snipe will start to rise. And there's another one. He's just looking through these small peak boxes, just the space in the end game to build up the box and get more of these. Every time you look out, there's so many people fighting to try to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned Vadil, who was very much alive in that last game, getting a record amount of 5 eliminations so far in his run in these grand finals. After that, still looking for more for everyone who was in this foot race. It was intense. They wanted to have a leg in the competition.
And we said it. Things that were missed. 7 Tor goes off on a spree, back-to-back-to-back elims, and he does it so well. There are so many people here in his lane, but for most of them, it's a false start in this endgame.
Yeah, he was sticking beside that storm so much, looking for shots from box to box, had the AR to clear out walls. After that, got into boxes himself. If he couldn't get things from range, he was right up in your face and got elims on players like Mr. Savage. Moved past that, though, and still played a phenomenal game, ending somewhere near top 15.
But there's no signs of anybody lapping anyone else, except for maybe the Become Legends guys. There's so many of these names starting to push up towards the top, and look at that back-to-back. Two players looking to lobby focus on the same person, and it works out for one, but then the player who he actually had taken a little bit from ends up getting put down. That was Snazy too.
Yeah, it was a rough run for Rifle here. Just look at all the things he had to overcome. Box to box while getting third party, still got the elimination down, got to hold down the wall, and the coolest RPG shot after this awesome elimination on the Thomas HD I've ever seen. Clay was saying it was hard to actually get these reloads down, get these power weapons situated, but he shoots an RPG, catches himself with a waterfall, and then connects with a drop-down charge pump. What a play.
What a shot at the ends. That is ridiculous. We've seen that a number of times from the Caddy launcher players. Kit Shockwave launcher so good, but in that case, he doesn't opt to use it at all, just relies on his pure instincts.
Dude, that's all it takes sometimes. Sundown likes to say it best. Some days you just have to make sure you can hit your shots better than someone else. And for Rifle, that's what we're seeing. He's like, hey, big time to make the moves. It's happening now. Now, guys, as the competition does heat up, we need to cool down. We have 3 games left before we make an FNCS champion. But with that being said, we're going to step away. When we return, we'll have the conclusion from Europe. See you guys in 5.
Was, Junge?
Hello and welcome back to continued coverage of the FNCS Grand Finals. I'm your host, Zeke, joining us here on the desk as analysts. We got Shyway, we got Ball at TW. Gentlemen, we are halfway through the leg of this race, and these last 3 games are going to dictate who walks away as an FNCS champion. We're just going to get back into it because we have games on deck, so we're sending it back over to our casters, Sundown and Clay Staley, to get us into the action. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala, and welcome back, everyone. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Finals. 3 games have been down, and we're also jumping a little bit into this one so we can stay up to date. Clay, what do you think of the action so far?
It has been tense, and it is going to be a nail biter coming into this game. As we saw, the top is only separated by a few points, and there was a 3-way tie there. The third, of course, it all breaks down based on tiebreakers, but our Victory Royale winners are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As Deceptos is in 1st with no Victory Royales. We're hopping on board here first, though, with Thomas HG. He was able to get his Shockwave Launcher and that Mythic Charge Shotgun in the inventory. Will he go aggressive in the mid-game, though, however, is the question.
And that's what he's looking for right now. We talked about just how valuable that mythic loot is coming out of Caddy. He also has all of the excess shields and the guaranteed launch pad that comes from the vault, but you still have to execute on the rotation because while it is super valuable, everyone and their mother and their grandmother and probably their 3rd and 2nd cousins and that one person you talked to in 3rd grade the one time as you were at the water fountain, they all want this mythic loot. It is so strong, particularly in solos when it comes to maintaining high ground control in the end game, which allows you to convert at a much higher percentage and actually closing out the game.
And Thomas is no stranger to doing that. We've seen him do it before many, many times, but today, winless on the day. There's still 3 more games for him to get this win, but getting tagged up in this early portion of the game is hard for you and for your loot because you have to invest time, you have to invest match and those shields to use it there. As you see Curiosity going to fall there in the feed. Thomas has to be careful about going for shots like that. Standing still is never okay in Fortnite because it will always get you tagged up. He was luckily able to avoid it.
And Thomas HD knows all about that, known for being one of the best and most accurate players in Europe, particularly with those hunting rifles and sniper rifles, and able to punish the players looking to throw those shots in there and to rack up damage for Storm Surge. That's what we talk about when it's all about the tags going through there. But now we're going to take a look at a quick little replay here there as Flawless will be able to pick up an elim as he's going through here, but then I believe he fell right after that.
And landing in a different spot than he was normally, as he does end up falling to SB. He, in the gas station, has been changing up loot spots every single game today, and it doesn't seem to be working out after his great performance in that first game.
And Wolfie is actually also going down to himself there, which to me indicates he probably might have tried to RPG too close there. Wasn't a storm signal going off, so he will be taken out, and we saw him go down early last game as well. Rifle actually going to yoink that elimination away there. As you can see, Thomas trying to close in, get as much pressure here. Rifle did close out that last game, so getting another elimination there. Really good job on Thomas, using that shockwave horizontally, closing the distance onto passive, and give him a little donkey laughing and take the L. If you're in Party Royale Island right now, you got that combo, and you hit that combo real quick, give him the donkey laugh into the L with a quick little dab, and then back into the L. Show him what you got. Show Thomas HD some love, because that was a well-executed play there. He's going to look to continue to roll with that loot into the finals.
And while Thomas is dancing, Mongrel falls on the other side of the map as well. So they're definitely needing to change it around. Players near the top are not. What? If you're going to catch me, you need to go just as aggressive as I am, if not better. As Deceptos is looking for a snipe, almost hits it, and he barely even saw that player. Would have been one to definitely put in the montage and the highlight reel. He's got to be careful. There's a player nearby, and he needed those tags because he is below Storm Surge.
24 below, 27 below, so it's going to continue to drop. You can see 77 players left. Once the storm does close in, that storm surge will come into play. Don't forget that it's 25 damage every 10 seconds, and only the 3 minis that's very rapidly going to pick through, but he should have an opportunity here. There's multiple players rotating in front of him. Still 5 below after that 32 tag, so not quite enough, but might have a nice little ambush opportunity, especially with those 3 crash pads here. However, he needs to be careful as there's 2 players here, and I think one of the players has to be below storm surge because they're in the zone and still pressing really aggressively.
And a nice heads-up tag there by Deceptos to get another tag for that storm surge. He's hopping the box. He's done with it. He says, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I want that tag. And with that elimination, he secures himself a placement point as well as the elim point going into that top 75 placement threshold.
Yeah, and a good job. So huge impact elimination there. We talk about tags, which is when you're just trying to land shots for some damage, not necessarily looking to convert, but a massive conversion, which ends up being 2 points to the placement swing, puts him well above the storm surge threshold. So their number 1 place, not going to be threatened by that, going to get a relatively easy transition into the mid game after getting the resources from that elimination. But now on board with Boffle here, slightly off of the top 15 pace in terms of 20 points, but more than capable of picking himself back up, and he is well above that storm surge threshold now. And oh my lord, the legendary pistol going to work. Ovations Arion going down there, and we've talked about just how strong that weapon can be and why these competitive and top players are opting to pick it up. It's because in the most recent season, all of those assault rifles have had their headshot multipliers changed to be 1.5. The pistols, on the other hand, still have a 2.0 headshot multiplier, which means due to the higher rate of fire, if you're able to be accurate and find 1 or 2 headshots like you saw in that situation, you can convert into eliminations on a really consistent basis, and sometimes even better with the AR. But now, back on board here with Thomas, and the reason we're watching him is we're checking that loadout. He's the one with Kit's Mythic Loot, has the launch pad, and we've seen just how destructive it can be in all of these late game scenarios.
And Thomas has been mastering it so far, but he does get tagged up again. This is not good for Thomas. He's got the shockwave launcher. He's got a lot of builds, but he's running out of heals as he's going to get a nice game, and we'll see him shockwave here momentarily. No, decides not to. As Carrot seems like he ran out of mats or was just in a bad situation, and Thomas capitalized yet again. And we've seen this in the first game. We saw him get mid-game elims. But this is the first time he's been able to actually get an elim and get the loot that comes with it. So that's going to be really